Hello everyone, my name is Shani Jones and this is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. I am your resident certified sex coach and we are here to talk all things sex. And with that topic, I was recently able to participate on a panel via Zoom, of course, sponsored by or brought on by the Human Resources Alliance Project, HRAP. They put on a panel discussion where we were talking about mental illness in the Black community. The panelists included Ernesto Rodriguez, who is the CEO of the nonprofit HRAP. It also included 2 doctors, a licensed therapist, as well as a couple where the husband suffers from depression or has had long-standing years of suffering from depression, as well as his wife. And I got to be on this panel with all of these great people. And so when it came to me, it was really the connection between sex and mental illness. And so from that, and I would like for you to go and watch the whole thing when it's posted, but the biggest takeaway is that, you know, a lot of times when people don't understand things, they consider it non-normative, right? Where you're not normal because you think that you're the only one that is into this. And even if you know that you're not the only one, if the greater society doesn't easily accept that thing, that inclination, then you still are considered not normal. And so I explained to the panel there are things called paraphilias, and paraphilias are things that are still in the DSM, which is the manual that psychologists use to kind of categorize mental illnesses. And so things like exhibitionism and voyeurism, pedophilia, those are all things that are in the DSM. Now, the reason why a lot of people are into exhibitionism and voyeurism, but part of the problem with those are that there are aspects of those acts that are illegal, which is why, part of the reason why it's in the DSM. Now, just because we don't understand something doesn't mean that it's a mental defect. So, for instance, in 1973 is when homophobia, or homosexuality was removed from the DSM. So there was a period within my lifetime, since I've been born, well, no, since in my span of the decade where I was born, where homosexuality was considered a mental defect. And now, after communication and research and studies and common knowledge at this point, we know that it's not the case. And there are certain things culturally, socially, nature versus nurture, all of these different factors that kind of play into who we are as sexual beings. Now, when you don't have that connection where you are comfortable and safe, you might struggle with it, especially if you do have some other type of mental illness or mental issue like depression. So one of the things that we talked about during the panel was that, you know, depression and sex is one of those things that double-edged sword type of thing, because to have sex means that you are releasing those happy chemicals, those oxytocin and serotonin into your brain that make you feel good and you're happy, and those things can help with depression. But the way depression works, if you are so into it that you can't bring yourself to be in a sexual place or be in a sexual mood, then you don't build on those opportunities to release those happy chemicals. So happy chemicals, sex will help release happy chemicals, but if you can't pull yourself out of the depression, then you know, you don't give yourself the opportunity to have those happy feelings. So that's one aspect that we talked about. The last takeaway that I want to just kind of bring up to you is that your sexual health is just as important as your physical health and your mental health. So let's start with your physical health. Now we know that there's still some old school people where no matter what it is that you do, you're never going to go to a doctor. But if you fall down and you break your leg, you go to a doctor. If you feel sick, you go to a doctor. Common sense, right? We know these things. We're just now getting into the space where talking about your mental health is not so scary. You know, going to see a therapist, going to see a psychiatrist, those things aren't so uncommon anymore. So we should be able to talk about our mental health. Our sexual health, on the other hand, is still something that's very new because it's still very taboo, and it's still very something that is private, and we don't talk about it. And you know, that's part of the problem. When we don't talk about it, we don't have the opportunity to share, you know, what's going on with us, and in that platform be able to perhaps connect with someone else that may be going through the same thing. So when you have a problem, whether it's physical, mental, sexual, spiritual, you know, you have to remember that you don't have to be in it alone. There are people in this world that are here wanting and waiting to help you. All you have to do is, one, acknowledge that help is something that you could benefit from, and from there have the other conversations about what's next, what else can I do, who can I reach out to. Talk to someone. They will help you figure out the proper resources to align you with somebody that can actually help you. And I'm not just talking about opinion. Go to somebody who is certified, someone who is licensed, someone who, especially if it's a sexual issue, and let's say it's a sexual issue that is, you know, based on some type of internal physical issue. Make sure that your doctor understands how it's impacting you on a sexual level. Make sure that your therapist is somebody who has taken, you know, sex therapy, somebody who is practiced in understanding and helping with sexual issues. If there is a component that is impacting your sexual health, talk to me, talk to a coach. If there's something that you need help with, understanding with, and we can work together to try to make things right, you know, get things better for you in your life. So again, that's the panel discussion that I was on recently. So hopefully you get a chance to view the whole thing, because, you know, it was my part, but there was a lot of good information from all of the other panelists that I think that you would benefit from. So when you get a chance, take a look at the video. I am Shani Jones. This is KNKY. Know the new kinky you. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Follow me across all social media at DOYOU KNKY.